So the challenges have got some excellent names. This one's known as Diamonds from Drains, and it's got a whiff of the James Bond 007s about it. This team was mentored by Bernard Clancy from GHD and Catherine Port from Sydney Water. Participants are Zach Noel Strang from Ventia, Krista Zachariah from Lend-Lease, Catherine Glover from GHD, Tony Curry from Ventia, and Tim Arnold from Lend-Lease. Please welcome Diamonds from Drains.
The lotus flower is well known for its ability to bloom and flourish in adverse environments, leaving vibrant waterways in its wake. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering what a lotus flower has to do with smart seeds, but just bear with me whilst I enlighten you. Historically, Sydney's waterways have been seen only as a means to transport stormwater, sewage and waste. There is unprecedented pressure on our government bodies to rethink our inland water systems and provide us with the lifestyle and environment we all desire. We have been tasked with finding a solution to transform our urban waterways from neglected pieces of infrastructure to high-value urban assets. Now, the City of Sydney predicts that population is going to increase by approximately 30% in the next 20 years. For people like you and me, that means our open space is going to decrease by up to 20%. Here we have a map of the Sydney LGA. And as you may or may not know, the area to the south is undergoing significant transformation as airport-related land uses are shifted out west in favour of commercial and residential spaces. Zooming in, we can see Sydney Park here, and then just to the right, the pink area represents the single largest area in the LGA that does not have access to open space. And that's all because of that blue streaking line you see running through the centre, known as Alexandra Canal. So we then asked ourselves, if the canal was capped and used for industry, how much would it be worth? Well, let me tell you, it's $250 million. That's so much money. But however, we can't exactly cap the canal due to its functional requirements and heritage significance. So we asked ourselves, how can we bring life to an underutilised and redundant industrial area? How do we improve the environment? How do we connect communities to existing open space? And how do we realise the full potential of our existing urban waterways? The answer, inspired by the lotus flower and its ability to bring new life to existing waterways, is Flotus, a concept which Tim will now explain.
Thanks, Catherine. Our solution, Flotus, utilises a modular structure which creates the ground for dynamic public interaction. The floating shapes tessellate, enabling them to be arranged in clustered or linear formation. The components for the Flotus can be purchased in a kit of parts over time. A floating base creates a space. An adjustable ramp connects to the land. A roof can provide shelter, and a green edge brings the Flotus back to its organic roots. And lastly, a click and balustrade to ensure community safety and enable the versatility of the space. Flotus is designed to operate entirely off-grid, minimising the impact that it has on the environment, and we've integrated some key sustainable features, sorry. Aquatic gardens on our green edge complement our sustainable strategy whilst also being aesthetically pleasing. Translucent solar panels on the roof generate power for the lighting. And lastly, onboard storage tanks collect and filter drinking water. These three systems combine to minimise the impact that the Flotus has on the environment. Flotus is an extremely stable and buoyant structure that is supported by a unique mooring system that you can see suspended above the canal. This enables Flotus to operate without impacting on the polluted sediment below the canal. The system is a shore-mounted, telescopic, overhead mooring system which connects to the Flotus and fluctuates with the tides. Not only is it essential in keeping the Flotus positioned correctly, it creates a unique atmosphere at night. The image that you can see behind me is an example of how the Flotus can look once it's pieced together. The Flotus draws people to the area and brings the canal back to life. Krista will now walk you through a day on the Flotus.
Imagine this. It's 7 a.m. on a clear summer morning. The yoga class have chanted their final namaste, and the group are walking across the Flotus to the canal coffee stand. They join the queue with a local cycling group and professionals on their way to work. As the day goes on, a large school group arrives to learn about the Sydney stormwater system and the history of the Alexandra Canal. By lunchtime, the grounds of Alexandria Pop-Up Cafe is filled with students, new parents and tourists alike. Mid-afternoon brings the Sydney Plane Spotter Society to the Flotus, where they're enjoying their new vantage point of the planes flying overhead. And as the sun sets, a local band begins a new set. Friends gather for a long-awaited catch-up, and families take their seats for the Moonlight Cinema session. You can now start to imagine what your day on Flotus might be like. Flotus is a platform for meaningful community relationships, and the possibilities are endless. But the value in the solution is not limited to the community, as Tony will explain.
Thanks, Krista. Most of you will be aware Alexandra Canal inherits a long history of contamination and will inevitably face a complex remediation solution. Signs like these pictured here are common to the canal and are scattered all across its banks. Not only will the Flotus help to solve the contamination issue, it will be the beginning of an entire community renewal. Krista has invited us to explore some of the opportunities for a diverse community this project has to offer. It's through this effective community engagement and the connections with the environment it creates, the remediation program will receive the public support it requires. Another element critical to the success of a remediation project is funding. Profits generated through the long-term leases of spaces to business owners and function groups will be injected back into improving the health of the canal, also providing a sustainable community renewal future. I now leave you with Zach, who will summarise some of the other benefits for the key stakeholders.
Thanks, Tony. The impacts and benefits of Flotus can be categorised into 4 main groups. New age commercial opportunities will keep local business and encourage them to grow in an adaptive and creative market. Through the revitalisation and activation of the canal, the land and property values of the surrounding areas will also increase. Flotus will also provide members of the community with a new outdoor space which connections and relationships will be able to flourish. In addition, when Flotus is arranged in a linear formation, it will connect residents from the east of the canal to Sydney Park and further beyond. The environment. This is the key driver of our solution. This will be improved through increased public awareness and injecting the revenue back into the remediation of the canal. So, now you all know that Alexandra Canal and the greater Sydney community will benefit from Flotus. But let me leave you with this. How many other water bodies remain unutilised in an ever-expanding and growing city? Too many. Flotus is not only the next big thing for Alexandra Canal, but it's the next big thing for Sydney. Help us and join us with our cause.
So this seems perfect for you, Kevin Young. This is a Sydney Water Perennial Challenge. What did you think about that idea?
I think if this team's pitching, I'm buying. So the classic issue, I think, the Flotus floats. If you look at communities that don't have access to, the livable cities that we talked about in some of the other areas, this provides that access. People want to be near water. They want to relax. There's different things that they can do in the morning, the afternoon. I thought it was well pitched, and the idea that the money that would be raised from that could be put back into the local community, I think would be really attractive as well. There's no doubt that no one would be prouder than me if we could remove signs that says, warning, stay away from this drain. They're such valuable assets. I actually think there's potential that you can turn drains into diamonds. So well done, team, and well presented.